The beach trip that didn't go well. Whispers of the Deep. Sarah and her friends, Lisa, Mike, and Jake, had been planning their beach trip for months. They finally arrived at the scheduled beach. Far from the usual tourist spots, it was late afternoon and the sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the sand. They set up their tents and started a bonfire. As the night grew darker, they roasted marshmallows and shared stories. The only sound were the crackling fire and the gentle waves lapping against the shore. It seemed like a perfect night. Lisa noticed something unusual first, a strange rhythmic sound like whispers carried on the wind. "Do you hear that?" she asked, looking towards the dark water. The others paused, straining their ears, but heard nothing out of the ordinary. Shrugging it off, they continued chatting. A sudden chill swept over the beach, making Sarah shiver. She pulled her sweater tighter and moved closer to the fire. "Is it just me, or did it get really cold all of a sudden?" she asked. The others nodded, feeling it too. Mike suggested they explore the beach a bit before it got too late. They grabbed their flashlights and started walking along the shoreline. The moon was full, providing enough light to see the waves but casting eerie shadows on the sand. As they walked, they stumbled upon an old, dilapidated shack hidden behind some dunes. Its windows were shattered, and the door hung loosely on its hinges. "Should we check it out?" Jake asked, a grin spreading across its face. Always the adventurous one. He didn't wait for an answer before heading inside. The others hesitated but followed. Inside the shack was musty and filled with old broken furniture. Lisa found an old diary on a dusty table. She opened it, and as she began to read, her face paled. "Guys, listen to this," she said, her voice shaking. The diary belonged to a woman who had lived there decades ago. She wrote about strange occurrences, voices calling from the ocean, people disappearing. The last entry was a desperate warning. "If you hear the whispers, leave immediately. They come from the deep." Just then, they heard the whispers again, louder this time. The air grew colder, and the sound seemed to come from all around them. Panic set in. "We need to get out of here," Mike said. They ran out of the shack, racing back towards their camp. When they reached their tents, they found them destroyed, the bonfire extinguished. The whispers grew louder, almost deafening. Fear gripped them as they realized they were not alone. Shadowy figures emerged from the water, their eyes glowing eerily in the darkness. The friends backed away slowly, but the figures advanced, moving unnaturally fast. Sarah tripped and fell, and as Mike helped her up, he saw something that made his blood run cold. One of the figures was holding a piece of Lisa's sweater. She hadn't noticed it yet. "Run!" Mike screamed. They sprinted towards the nearby cliffs, hoping to find safety. As they climbed, the whispers turned into wails, and the figures seemed to multiply. Reaching the top, they found an old lighthouse. It was their only hope. They barricaded themselves inside, breathing heavily. The door rattled as the figures tried to get in. Desperation filled the air. "What do we do now?" Lisa cried, tears streaming down her face. No one had an answer. Suddenly, the light in the lighthouse flickered on by itself, sweeping over the beach. The figures recoiled from the light, hissing. The friends watched in disbelief as the figures slowly retreated back into the ocean. The whispers fading. Exhausted, they slumped to the floor, relieved but confused. What just happened? Jake whispered. They spent the rest of the night huddled together, too scared to sleep. When morning came, they cautiously left the lighthouse. The beach looks normal, with no sign of the night's horrors. As they packed up to leave, Sarah glanced back at the ocean. The calm waves seemed innocent enough, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As they drove away, a news report came on the radio about a group of teenagers who had gone missing from the same beach a week earlier. The report ended with a chilling reminder. Authorities urged caution and recommended avoiding the area after dark. Sarah turned off the radio, her hands trembling. They had survived, but the whispers of the deep were not easily forgotten. As they headed home, they vowed never to return to that beach, knowing some mysteries are better left unexplored. Years later, Sarah, now an adult, couldn't shake the memory of that night. One evening, she received a mysterious package containing the old diary they had found in the shack. A new entry had been added in the familiar handwriting. You escaped once, but the whispers still call. We are waiting. Chills ran down her spine as she realized the horrors of that beach had followed her, and the nightmare was far from over. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember, if you have stories to share, please use the email in the description.